So Miles Morales is going to be forced into a god war, and the gods involved are Ares, Hercules, Thor, and of course, the god who has claimed Miles Morales as his herald, Anansi. Now, this is coming here out of the Miles Morales Spider-Man with the issue number 32 by Cody Ziegler, which is the start of this new arc here called the God War. Now, this is all stemming from Miles's previous arc here with Deadpool, which was called Pools of Blood, which is a story that I did cover here on the channel. I'll actually leave that link down below in the description so you can get some context here as to what led up until this point. But basically, to make a long story short here, the god Ares basically feels disrespected by Anansi's presence currently right now, and to get back at Anansi, what he wants to do is that he wants to kill Miles Morales because he knows that Anansi just made him or anointed him his champion. But the thing is that Ares cannot directly attack Miles Morales, so what he has to do is that he has to empower others in order for them, offer them a boon in order for them to be able to kill Miles Morales. So in preparation, Anansi alerted Thor and also Hercules to deal with Ares, but also as well to essentially protect Miles Morales. But things don't end up working out how that was supposed to be intended, and you'll see why. So as it pertains to Miles right now, he's trying to basically get himself back to some sort of normalcy after all of these shenanigans that have gone down. He mentions how, himself turned into a vampire previously before, after the Blood Hunt event or during the Blood Hunt event, having now an African spider god that just moved into his head, having to save his clone brother from hired assassins. That's basically made his life a little bit crazy lately. And the person he's talking to here is Dr. Kwan. Now, this is a VR therapy session that he's going through right now. And Spider-Man is now starting to really see and understand what responsibility really means, although it's kind of hard for him to still put it into practice. And one of the things that Miles is beating himself up about is the fact that he had his clone brother Shift pretend to be Spider-Man when he was in Wakanda, trying to heal himself from his vampirism, but that ultimately ended up putting his brother in some real danger. But Dr. Kwan tries to assure him a little bit here. She's like, you were dealing with some incredible burdens, Spider-Man. It's okay to ask for help when you need it. It's a part of why I'm here, remember? Not that I'm excusing your behavior. More so, I like for you to realize that messing up is okay, and learning lessons is what makes life, well, life. Our time's almost up now though, so let's get you back to school. Now in the meantime, Ares is cooking up a plan here. Now at the raft, we see this man called Zip Zephyr. Now we've seen Zip Zephyr before here. He's a demigod. And the first time that we saw him here is when he went up against Miles Morales, Miss Marvel, and Shift. And Zip is one of the Greek gods of the winds, and they call them the Anemoi. And due to his previous run-in with Miles Morales, he's now currently in the raft. And he cannot believe how far he has fallen to these now human mortals, and how there was a time where they knew us to be their better, their gods, how they would beg for winds to fill their sails, so they made venture. And he keeps on going on, yada, 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 yada. And later on, he continues to mention how the divinity of his birth and lineage was never given respect by the Olympians, the highest of his order. I doubt Skyfather Zeus and the rest of his golden kin even knew his name. I would change that if only given the chance to show the world my greatness, that I am deserving of my birthright. But then there's a voice that pops up while he's in the raft that says, tell me, Anemoi, how do you plan on reaching such heights? And when we turn to look and see who it is, it's Ares. Now, this is a disguise that he used before when he was talking to Agent Gao back in Pools of Blood before he made her his herald. And he continues to say here to Zip, he's like, from inside the cage, perhaps you are not deserving as you think when born. And Zip is like, bro, how are you in my head? And Ares continues, he's like, I know it is a heavy burden, but do give it a bit of a thought, boy. And Zip is like, I recognize something different about you. You're no old man. You're no mortal at all. You smell of Olympus. And then that's when Ares reveals himself and is like, nah, boy, I smell of war. And he says to Zep, he's like, you have long been a laughingstock, and I think it's time you finally prove yourself, demigod. So Zip's like, how? And he's like, I'll offer you a boon as a token of my respect. In exchange, you become one of my war dogs. So Zip asks, he's like, for what purpose? He's like, to do what seemingly no one in this wretched place can do. Kill Spider-Man. But Zip is still asking his questions. He's like, what issue do you have with the spider? And Ares is like, honestly, I have none. But his connection to Anansi troubles me greatly. Which is when Zip realized he's like, oh, he's the avatar of the great spider. But the old laws prohibit us from fighting the gods of the first continent, the Voodoo. And Ares just kind of laughs. He's like, oh, us? You're a demigod, child. A Theoi at that. You think such pacts apply to you? And Zip is like, listen, the Anamoi need no reminder of our placement within Olympus. So Ares is like, all right, don't look so hurt. If you complete this labor, then by my authority, I shall grant you full divinity and all the rights and privileges that come with that. But then Zip damn near shuts up after he sees that Ares had brought him his Sakos. Now his Sakos is his bag that he uses here to administer his wins. You will see what I'm talking about as we move forward. So without hesitation, Zip grabs his bag, blows some wind on the guard, and then whoosh, it takes off, declaring how he will slay Spider-Man, avatar of Anansi, and gain his rightful seat amongst the Olympians. Now, once again, as we mentioned, Miles is trying to get back to some normalcy here. So we find him at school trying to catch up with some friends. One of Miles' friends is like, yo, when you gonna give me back my NBA 2K? And I'm like, listen, man, it's basketball season. Don't mess with the man NBA 2K right now. Give it back, Miles, give it back. Now, if you're wondering here about Miles's brother, like where is Shift currently right now? So Shift is currently in school, but he's on the east side right now. So Miles is back with his regular folk here by himself. Now, when he sits down, that's when Anansi pops up and it's like, my champion. And Miles is like, Anansi, what the heck are you doing here? I thought we agreed no trickstering while I'm at school or in therapy. And Anansi's like, no need to fear, sweet spider. Only my heralds can perceive me, unless you'd like Anansi to let his presence be known. And Miles is like, nah, I mean, you're gonna blow my cover. Why are you here? And Anansi keeps on going on. He's like, must a great reaver have a reason to hold audience with one of his heralds? What good is an avatar if I cannot speak through them? Perhaps I should ask your instructor, Okpolo, was it? I bet his family would have much respect for the Voodoo. And Miles is like, nah, man, chill with all that. But after Anansi's done making his jokes, he's like, listen, the reason why I'm actually really here is because I come with a warning of an approaching conflict, a story most foul indeed. My webs that tell me Agent Gao's benefactor shall soon make his true intentions known here. And Miles is like, I can't let that happen. Folks could get hurt. Please, Anansi, you have to do something. But before he could even finish saying that sentence, Anansi's like, listen, as powerful as I may be, even I cannot intervene yet. And Orisha's word is their bond, sweet champion. But the most interesting songs are born from limitation. So worry not, O herald of mine. Revelation is but a moment away. But then not so far away, Zip is on patrol for Miles. So what he does is that he uses his winds to try and find and locate where Miles could be. And as soon as he does that, Anansi senses something because he says to Miles, he's like, my champion, prepare yourself. And in that moment, that's when Miles' spider sense starts to go insane and crazy to the point where he almost faints. And he tries to yell at everyone for them to get down. And that's when we see the winds break through to the point where they break the glass. And Miles' ears, they're ringing. His head is on fire. His muscles are screaming, but he knows that he can't stay down. He got to get back up. And then he hears the voice of Zip that says, behold me, mortals. You are in the presence of one of the grand scions of the wind gods of old. Zip Zephyr, the great war wind. I come seeking justice and the head of Spider-Man. And Miles is like, yo, how did this dude find me in the first place? And that's what Anansi lets him know. He's like, it appears that great magics are at work. Now, Miles is concerned about his fellow students. He's like, I got to get them to safety. But Anansi's like, listen, I will make sure that they're all good. You got to go deal with Zip. So what Miles does is that he uses the dust so that he could go invisible and then change into his vibranium suit. And then Miles led this corny ass, but also like kind of smooth line at the same time. He's like, Zip, you're not gonna believe this, but my foot has been dying to see you. Now, the only thing that Zip is concerned about, he wants to know where is the spider god, Anansi. But he does leave that line in there like, or does he prefer to watch me kill his herald from afar? Now Zip got a point, because right now, Miles doesn't have his vampiric strength that gives him a boost. So he's at an ultimate disadvantage right now, going up against a empowered demigod, right? So Miles is trying to ask Anansi for help, but Anansi's like, yo, I cannot intervene. Not just yet, champion. A problem I will soon solve. Just give me a moment. And Miles is like, yo, are you BRBing me right now? And Zip is honestly giving Miles the business right now. Grabs him by the head, slams him on the ground, and Miles is realizing that Zip has gotten a lot stronger since the last time that he's seen him. And then Zip starts to mock him. He's like, where are your japes, child? Your fighting spirit, the mocking tongue that a mortal would so easily wag. And even with Miles' vibranium suit, he's still feeling them bruises. So Zip asks the question, he's like, do you have trouble speaking, Spider? Does the all-knowing and witful Anansi no longer fill your lungs with colorful jokes? So then Zip calls Sakos and says, do help this mortal so that he may catch his breath. And Miles thinks to himself, he's like, I can't breathe. I'm getting dizzy. Come on, Miles, fight this. Need to protect the school. And he's about 3 seconds away here from passing out when he hears the voice, Godling, which is soon followed by some lightning, the sound of thunder. And that's when Thor comes in and we see Hercules. And Thor says, he's like, yo, we would have words with thee. Thou shalt unhand Spider-Man now, Olympian, or face the judgment of the Odin son. Hercules chimes in. He's like, and you would do well to know the only thing greater than Hercules' charm and strength is his wrath. And Zip is kind of asking the questions that most would probably ask in this situation, like Thor and Hercules. Why are y'all here? Hercules is wondering. He's like, yo, where is your master? We were told that there would be a great battle, that aid was needed. Now, this is because in the last issue here, Anansi had basically told Thor and Herc that they needed to show up to protect Spider-Man, as I mentioned earlier in the top of the video. So Odin is realizing now, it was like, it would seem that Anansi has made a fool of us again. Thou smeller of Olympus, windborn, but thy name escapes me. And Hercules is trying to figure out whether or not Zip is from the northern winds or the eastern winds or the northeastern winds. So Zip chimes in, he's like, I am Zip, Zephyr, scion of the Animoy. And Herc's like, yeah, that's the one of my many cousins, I believe, a demigod like myself, though lacking my good looks. But Zip is like, I will be more than a demigod, son of Zeus. I will earn respect. I will earn worth. I will be seated at the grand table of Olympus. So then he tries to attack Hercules. And Herc acknowledges the fact that he's gotten strong, which of course Thor realizes. He's like, hey, it's because he got a boon from Ares. So that's the reason why Zip, I think I mentioned that a little bit earlier, that's the reason why Zip is stronger now. So Hercules asks the question, he's like, does the Odin son speak true, Zip? Would you so easily dive headfirst into a war for a taste of power? But for Zip, this is more than that for him. To him, he's like, I'm doing what is worthy of someone of my station. This is the only way that Zip sees that he can make a name for himself. But Storm reminds Zip, he's like, even though your winds are strong, that Thor himself, he's the one who controls the storm, and he knocks Zip ass down. And in that moment, though, Miles comes back too, and he starts talking to Anansi. He's like, did you lie to get Thor and Hercules here? And Anansi says, he's like, I simply wove a tale, my champion. While Hercules is mocking Zip like, you would leave so soon, cousin? And Zip is like, yo, get off me, man. And Herc's like, all right, fine. It just slams him on the ground. Just like how you should slam that like button, by the way, so you can help out the YouTube algorithm for this video. So Thor would like to have a talk with Anansi, and he wants to make his way over to Miles. So what does he do? He drops his hammer down on Zip just to calm him down for a second. So Miles tries to apologize for Anansi not being clear about who was here. But Thor is like, yo, I kind of expected this when dealing with a trickster god. So Anansi does pop up. He's like, although Ares isn't here, you can clearly see that his touch is felt by him bringing in Zip. And Anansi reminds him, he's like, I did say that it would not be so easy to break ancient pacts. But Thor is like, and yet it has now found itself broken, Spider, and the resulting conflict will have much consequence. So Spider-Man wants to know, he's like, yo, what is he talking about? So Herc chimes in, like, you make this child your avatar, but you don't tell him what your actual intentions are? and Anansi just replies back and says, yo, I move in mysterious ways. But Thor just seems it as reckless, and all it does is just put innocent people into danger. But then right in that moment, that is when they start to sense something. So Thor, he calls back his hammer and says, so thou would finally reveal thyself. And who pops up? ARES with Agent Gao. And ARES is like, Odin's son, it's been a while, brother. You look strong as always. And Anansi, you still breathe. A wrong I will soon right. War cry, which is what he calls Agent Gao, gather zip for me. So Anansi states, he's like, it has indeed been some time, brother ARES. So much of our story remains unfinished. Our great song unsung. So Miles wants to know, he's like, why do you have beef with ARES? So ARES is like, your pet spider speaks with as much carelessness as you do, Voodoo. Perhaps I shall put this one in its place as well. This is a song I'm sure you'd love to hear again, Orisha. But Thor's like, man, that's not going to be any challenge here. You've caused enough damage as it is, ARES. But this is when ARES gets pissed. You do not command me, Asgardian, and you have no say in the matters of Olympus. The Olympian Voodoo Pact is no more, for there is no more Olympus to enforce it. Instead, the spider and I shall settle this in other manners, sanctioned by our Skyfather. So ARES says, I, ARES, god of war, challenge you, Kwaku Anansi, the great weaver to an Agon. So then Anansi says, he's like, by Beluku's blessings. Anansi accepts. So Miles is like, bro, what the heck did you just get me into? And Anansi explains, he's like, a tradition long favored by my siblings, sweet champion. Stories told throughout the pantheons far and wide. Yes, a song sung by only the most divine. Yes, we shall indeed join this sweet chorus, Spider. What sweet harmonies we shall find in a tournament of the gods. All right, so part of this was a little bit messy, right? And a little bit clunky to get to this point, but there was a little bit of a lead up here in Pools of Blood. So I think they were trying to kind of give you a little bit of the backstory before we got right into it. But either way, what did you think about this here? Definitely looking forward to the next couple of issues. Also, Dr. Kwan that we saw as a therapist, we're gonna see her a little bit later on in this as well. And I can't wait for you guys to see what that looks like in the future. Appreciate you guys watching here. Leave a like on this video for the YouTube algorithm. Also subscribe if you are new to the channel. Hit the notification bell so that you know when the next videos do go live. Also down below in our description here, we do have other links for you to follow. One where you can join our Discord, another one where you can actually join our Patreon here and be a supporting member that helps to fund the cause at Keepin' It Comic here. We appreciate you, and as always, thank you so much for kicking it with Keepin' It Comic. Bye.